All right, good morning from here, or good afternoon rather, from the Office of the Human Rights Defenders and Access to Justice Advocacy Center. The Chairman, the Legal Department, co-comrades and other honorable members of the House, Queen Mrs. Sulishola from Ikeja Allen Avenue branch for bringing before you a case of domestic violence and children sexual molestation reported by one Mrs. Faith Ofugocho Anete AKPAN, who is right in our office against Mr. Anete AKPAN. Please join us as we interview her and interview for a peaceful resolution and justice for the innocent children. And follow us on our Facebook page on Human Rights Defenders and Access to Justice Advocacy Center, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Access to Justice TV. For more useful information, visit our website on www.hrdac.org.ng. Please be mindful of your statements as we keep up from here. Thank you. Please, she did not give consent of her face. You're just going to see her body and just be attentive, listening peacefully and attentively so that we can know area to resolve. Okay, you can speak up. Let's meet you, who you are, how you got to know Mr. Nete Akpan.
My name is Faith
Speak
Ofugocho.
up, except you need whatever.
My name is Faith
I need
Ofugocho
mic.
Anyete AKPAN. I I met my husband in 2016, and then we got married that same year. We've been married for 5 years.
I can't hear you. And this, and I will turn this thing on you so that they can hear you. The only way, no, your voice is loud enough to speak up. I don't need to give you mic. All you need is to speak up. That's what I'm saying. Mostly when you know camera is not on you, you need to speak up.
My name is Faith Ofugocho Anyete AKPAN. I met my husband 2016, and we've been married for 5 years plus.
Okay. How did you meet him?
We met in church.
Hello. Hi. Uh, Give me some biscuit from there, please. Right.
We met in church. We were both serving in the same church,
Which church? Take
Full Life Christian Center.
careful with that light, please. Take. Go ahead.
Full Life Christian Center. We were both
Careful.
worshiping. Full Life Christian Center, where we were both worshiping.
Okay. Go ahead.
That was how I met him, and that was where I met him.
Did you people court before you started going into marriage?
Yes, ma'am. We did a 6 month courtship.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That was approved by the church too.
Yeah.
A 6 month courtship that was also approved by the church.
Go ahead.
That was how long we courted. Then after the 6 months, we got married. We did our wedding. We did the customary um, um, wedding. We did the traditional marriage, and we did the church marriage.
Okay.
We are blessed with two children, two girls.
Okay. So what happened? What transpired in the relationship?
Yes, the moment I got married, he wasn't violent towards me during our courtship. But when I got married and settled down in the house, I discovered that he became very patient with me with most of the things I do. And then he was nagging, and then I also discovered an anger problem in him too. And that was what led to him hitting me. Those times he beat me up.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You don't need to pause now.
That was
Continue.
what
Tell us your experience. You are the one that is saying your experience of domestic violence. Is it one time domestic violence is not part of the marriage? You tell us full
the
experience
first
why
one.
you get out of the place.
The first one that happened, how it all started, though it started with verbal insults. It started with verbal insults, Then, like I said, he was so impatient. If I do anything, the next thing he would just start insulting me, and then they start cursing me too. What's like, you cannot make it in this life, you cannot go far in life, and stuff like that. And then the physical assault, the first time it happened, that was 2 months after I had my first child. 2 months after I had my first child, okay, number one, I didn't have a help. I didn't have a house help. After I pushed out the baby, got to the house, there was nobody assisting me. It was just I and my husband alone and the newborn baby. And then he's a businessman who goes to work. He goes to work in the morning, comes back in the night or in the evenings. And then, so I was left to like handle all the house chores alone and the newborn baby, and also to cater for myself. And then, the first time it happened, when he came back home that day, when he came back home from work that night, he asked me to serve him his food. I had made his food, and then he asked me to serve him in the room. Usually we eat at the dining table, but this particular day he insisted that it should be in the bedroom. I got up, brought what he asked me to bring, and then I served him the food. When I got to the room, he said I should go to the fridge and get him a pack of juice, which I did. And then we sat down together at the edge of the bed, because there was no issue, there was no problem. We just sat down together at the edge of the bed. And then while we were he was about taking his juice, he now sent me again to go and pick was it toothpick or something else from the kitchen. And then I told him, please, can you tell me everything you need so that I'll pack everything and put in the tray and bring to the room. Then I started explaining to him how tired I was, how I have worked. I was just 2 months old. And then I
Two
was
months on in the
from after giving birth. I
okay.
was just 2 months old from the hospital. And then I had a cut, and I was feeling pains there because I wasn't having proper rest. I wasn't resting as I should have rested. And then I was having pains. The more I work, I was having pains. So I decided to, I was not explaining to him. I was like, I am tired. I've been working all morning, working up and down, fixing things, taking care of the baby, that I needed to rest. I just trying to explain to him how tired I was. And the next thing, the pack of juice that I served him, he just used it and hit it on my face straight. He went straight for my eyes. He went straight for my eyes, got up, and started telling me that he wanted to hit me actually, so I had to protect myself. I had to protect myself. And then he told me that if I am not careful, he will collect the baby from me and give her to another woman to take care of, and ask me out of his house. That was the first one that happened. And it was in the night. It happened in the night. I stay alone with him, just I and him and the baby, no other person, both in the house and in the entire compound. Now the first one, though I reported the case to our pastor, and then it was resolved. They called him to order. They called both of us and then spoke with us. I thought things will get better, or maybe he will change and not hit me again or something. But the second time he did that to me again, it was more exaggerated than the first one he did to me. The second time, I mistakenly injured the baby when I was giving her her drug. She was struggling with me, and then their cup, I mistakenly injured her on her gum. And then me innocently, I just told, because he was around. He was around, and then I innocently told him, I said, "Oh, I've mistakenly injured her," because the baby was crying. And that was all. And then my husband turned and asked me, like, what did you do? You injured her? I said, yes, it was a mistake. I tried explaining to him. And then he was like, a mistake, and then he now went further to say that you're a disgrace to womanhood, that just to give a baby drugs, you cannot do that. And I told him that, but she was struggling with me. That was all. And then there was a rule, there was a standing rule in my husband's house when I got in. He told me I should not argue with him. He told me I shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't talk back whenever he talks. That was a standing rule. That was a standing rule. And
Back.
since I shouldn't talk back whenever he talks. Whenever he gives me an instruction, whenever he says anything, I should not even try to air out my own opinion or my feelings. I should just take it as he's saying it. That was the standing rule there. And I of course I was abiding by it, because at some point I became so scared of him actually. I became very scared of him, and then I as part of the respect or whatever for him, I was abiding by that rule. But this particular day, when he told me that I was a disgrace to womanhood, sincerely speaking, I could not contain it anymore because the insult was too much and all of. So I decided to like talk back. I replied him back. I talked back and all of that, and then I told him like, okay, he too is a disgrace to manhood. Like I just said it, and then he turned. He was like, "What did you just say?" He came and I didn't know he was going to hit me, or he was going to beat me up that day. And then while the baby was crying, I decided to give her breast to suck so that to like calm her down and all of that. She was sucking on my left hand side of the breast, and that was when my husband came. He didn't care if the baby was sucking or the baby was I was kind holding the baby or not. He came and started beating me up. And he's always going for my eyes. Anytime he's doing that, he's always going for my eyes, and was hitting me on my eyes and on my body, on my neck, on my face. The baby was also in shock. I wasn't expecting it. Then the way I screamed, the baby was in shock and all of that. And then he told me if I'm not careful, he's going to destroy my eyes. That was what he said. If I'm not careful, he's going to destroy my eyes. And he collected the baby from me. He collected the child from me, snatched her. He snatched her away, and she was on the breast. He snatched her away from me and told me, and she was crying. She was really crying. And then he collected the baby and told me that I should go and pack my things and get out of his house. I should go and pack all my loads and get out. And because of the baby's condition, me too, I started begging him. I said, but that was in pains, but I started begging him. I was like, he should please, he told me if I dare come close to the baby, that he's going to beat me up and all of that. But I had to calm him down. I started begging him in return, and so that I can have the baby. And then also see how I can also help her stop to cry and all of that. Because she was also in pains. And well, that was another day, and that was another day, that particular day's own weight. And that was the second time he was doing that to me. The third time that my husband had to hit me, my husband had to hit me was when I had my second child. When I had my second child, this time it was just 2 weeks after I came back from the hospital. 2 good weeks after I came back. And then whenever I put to bed, I don't have a house help. It's an intertribal marriage, so my people are not in the same state where we live. I hardly, as in nobody comes around to assist me. And then and this time I was still alone. I had my first child to take care of. I had my husband. I had the entire family to take care of, and my own self. And then this particular night, I was already exhausted. I was exhausted. I was sick. I was having headache, migraine headache, and then of course, I was babysitting till midnight. And then I wanted to have my bath. I wanted to take my bath that particular minute so I can go to bed and rest a little. And then by the time I was done with the baby, and I took her to the master's bedroom where my husband was. Because since I don't have a house help, I don't have any other person to help me look after the children. I decided to take her to the master's bedroom, and she was there with the elder sister, my first daughter. I kept her on the bed, and then she started crying. Though I had attended to her, but the moment I dropped her on the bed, she started crying. And she was crying seriously. But when I had to have my bath, I ran to the bathroom to have my bath. Where I was, I could see the bed because I left the door open so that I can monitor what was happening in the room. I could see the baby. She was vibrating, seriously crying on top of her voice, and my husband was lying down on the bed. And then from the bathroom, I told him, I was like, honey, please, could you help me carry the baby? That was all I said. She was seriously crying. I knew that, yes, he went to work and he was tired, he needed to rest, but there was no other person to assist me apart from him. And then I was like, honey, please, can you help me carry her? Help me carry her. She's crying. He didn't answer me. Even my first daughter, was telling him, Daddy, please carry her. Daddy, please carry her. She's crying. Carry her. He didn't answer her too. And she said, me as a mother, the way the care was, I wasn't comfortable in the bathroom. Then after some time, though he did, he got up from the bed, carried the girl. After carrying her, he was just staring at her. I expected him to like, okay, maybe stand up, cuddle, stroll with the baby, something, pamper her so she can stop crying. He just carried her, sat down on the bed, and was just staring at the girl, and she was seriously crying. So by the time I was finally done, after some time though, he dropped her back on the bed. Even while she was still crying, he dropped her back on her bed. And then by the time I came out from the bathroom, by this time I had it, like I couldn't contain it. I was full. I needed to just talk. And then remember I said there was a standing rule that I don't say anything. Like I dare not confront him or say anything, whether it goes down well with me or not. And then so by the time I entered the room that night, I was not myself. I was down, I was sick, I was having serious headache, and then the baby. So I decided to just talk. And then I told him, I said, honey, this thing you're doing is not good. I said, I do not have a help. If I have a house help, I will not disturb you. I won't ask you to like assist me with the baby. I was trying to be very diplomatic, so that I don't, since I know that he has serious anger, I was trying to be very careful with my words. I told him, if I have a house help, I wouldn't have been disturbing you. Then I now went further to say that men that don't like disturbance, you usually allow their wives to get a help. That was what I said. And that went further to tell him that you don't like disturbance naturally. Whenever you come back from work, once you've had your dinner, you go straight to bed, which was actually his norm. So that was a routine in the house. I think that you don't like you like your time, you like rest. Whenever you eat, you go straight to bed to rest. And then when I said that, he got up, my husband got up from the bed. I didn't know he was coming after me. I didn't even know he was going to be, because I was still naked, drying my body. I was covering my body, and I didn't know. I expected him to like say, oh, and to like sympathize with me or something, to understand where I was coming from. He got up immediately. My first child was still awake. She was still up, and this was like past 12 a.m. in the night. Remember, I said I stay alone with him in the house. And then he got up and started beating me like he was this time around. Like I said, anytime he had, in short, they it is always exaggerated from the last one. The beating was always exaggerated. And then this time around, he was beating me up and down all over my body, my face, hitting me on my head. I was already having migraine headache before that time. And he told me, lift up your eyes. I am after your eyes. Anytime my husband is beating me up, he's always after he would tell me, carry your eyes up, I'm after your eyes. And then thank God he said it. So the moment he said it, I had to, I started protecting my eyes, and then he was not hitting me all over my body. He gave me an injury on the back. And of course I had some swollen and this on my. I didn't take pictures. But that was it for the domestic violence, for the physical assault. That was the last time he did that to me. I still reported the case. And then we were called to order. He was talked to. I thought things would get better. The verbal insult was a normal thing. We were not, there was no friendship. Let me use that. There was no friendship between us. He was always very aggressive, very aggressive, very aggressive. Whenever I call him, like for example, if I want to ask him for something, or like, honey, his reply will be what? And that was a normal thing, that was a normal thing. And then he was always personalizing everything. My car, my bed, my this, my that. Sometimes he maybe asked me to get out from his bed. He says, stand up from my bed. Over a very little argument. And all of that. Then he didn't allow me to work. I wasn't working when I met him, but I was looking for a job. I was out of job, and I was looking for a job. When I met him, I told him I would like to work. I told him I wanted to work. I was doing a part-time job with my friend when I met him before we got married. And then during the courtship, he told me that he wants his wife to do business. When he saw my passion for work, he told that he would prefer his wife to do business, that he wants me to be independent. He doesn't want me to like be answering to sit under anybody. And then he was now saying that how much will they be pay me if I have to be an employed staff? He said, highest 30,000 naira. That I should just have my own business. He's going to set up a business for me. By the time we settled down, the moment we got married, I started reminding him about, because I didn't want to be a housewife. If there's anything I don't like is idleness. There's anything I don't like is boredom. I don't like idleness at all. So I started reminding him the moment we got married, after our wedding, like few weeks after. I started telling him, okay, how about the business of, I was trying to like ask him. And then he was like, which business do you think you can really do? Which one do you think? I gave him several businesses. I told him I would like to go into babies. I did my feasibility studies. I did my marketing, and so I studied. I went online. I browsed, lucrative businesses. I came up with several options. And then he was like, I don't think anyone I come up with, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can handle that business. Are you sure you know business very well? Because actually he's a business person and he's good at what he does. So he was like, are you sure you can handle that? Are you sure you can do that? Are you sure you can do that? And then that was how it continued, from weeks, it got to months. I took in almost immediately. I took him for our first child almost immediately. Then when the pregnancy came, it was not like, okay, you're pregnant now, we're thinking about business or job or something to do. And I was in the house like that until I had my first child. But I wasn't comfortable because I needed money as a woman. I needed money. I needed money as a wife. I needed money to, like, fix one or two things in the house. I wasn't comfortable that he was the only one handling everything. I wanted to be useful somewhere. So it continued like that. And I kept bringing up the topic, of how I would like to work, how, I was talking about it. Even after I had my first child, and then it got to a point where he said I should go and learn a skill. He said I should go learn a skill. And he asked me my area of interest. I told him fashion and designing. Yes, he gave me money. He registered me in a fashion house. I went and learned for 1 year. He paid the money, allowed me to go. But that was after I had my first child. And then after that, I was expecting that, okay, once I'm done, I will have my own shop or something. I'll start sewing. Though I started sewing from the house, I started sewing for a few friends. But I'm very sure the atmosphere wasn't really conducive for them or something. And then yes, pregnancy, stress, and other things came in, and then I couldn't further with the business, but I learned that. And then
Go ahead.
the child molestation, that was on the 2nd of December 2020. On the 2nd of December 2020, when I had my first child, I used to discuss that with my husband. I told him, I said, God has blessed us with a girl child as our first issue. And then we need to look after them. I told him how bad the world was, how we need to, protect them from I was just talking. I had discussed that with him initially. And then on the 2nd of December 2020, my first daughter walked up to me. She told me that, mom, I said she told me that her vagina was paining her. And my first question was, who touched you? That was my first question. Who touched you? And she said, daddy. She said, daddy, I didn't tell him about it because I stay alone with him. And I know that he has anger problem. In short, I wanted to be very careful. I didn't want anything that would lead to violence or anything in the house. So I didn't tell him about it until I made my inquiries. By this time, she was already going to school. She was 2 years plus. She was already going to school. And then I went, made my inquiries, and I made my inquiries if such a thing can happen from her school, and all of that. And then finally, I also took her to, as a medical personnel, checked her. Though I checked her too, and I saw that the place wasn't looking as it used to look. Then a medical personnel also checked her for me and confirmed that yes, that she's been touched, she's been molested. And then that was how I was able to, like, summon the courage, and I told my husband about it. I told him, she told me on the 2nd, and on the 4th, I told my husband about it. I told him I had to be diplomatic. So I was like, honey. He was like, yeah, well, and I told him that somebody is molesting our daughter. I didn't tell him that she said, you are the one.
Mm.
And I was like, someone is molesting our daughter, because I was expecting a kind of reaction from him. And then he was like, it was in the morning, and it was on a Friday. She was to go to school that day. I was like, hey, what? This is not the kind of news I want to hear. What kind of a story is this? Are you sure what you are saying? Are you sure? Are you so sure? Make sure you are sure what you're saying, because I'm going to take her to the hospital. He said, we are going to take her to the hospital, but I let her go to school first. Go to school and come back, then we'll take her to the hospital. Well, me, there's a kind of reaction I was expecting. There's a kind of a reaction I was expecting, like, especially, That kind of thing, that let's take her to the hospital immediately and all, but he said let her go to school and come back. And she went to school. Then on our way back, when we went to pick her from school, we went to the hospital. She was checked. She was checked by pediatrician. She was checked by an obstetrician, and they both confirmed that she was molested. Both of them came up with the same result. And they said it wasn't just that, they said that was not the first time, that the thing had been ongoing from their result. They said it has been ongoing. So maybe it even started before she was 2 years old, from what they discovered, from what they said. And she was meant to like carry a series of tests, both HIV, hepatitis B, and all of that. She was given drugs. She was placed on drugs for some time because she started having infections. I also discovered that on her pants. I discovered that on her pants, I saw some stains, and it was so unusual for a child to be having that kind of stain on her pants. So though we informed our senior head, our pastor, as usual, and then he came into the matter. He addressed it. My daughter was still interviewed, and she still called her father as a perpetrator. She was interviewed by some other person, and she still said that it was her father. That was when I now had the boldness to say it in the presence of my husband. I say, yes, she actually said you did it. Though he denied it, he swore he denied it. He said that he did not do it. He said he didn't do it, that if he did it, let God strike him dead and all of that. And then after some time, when he said, of course, God is a merciful God. After some time, he started saying that he swore, and then he's still alive, but nothing happened to him. That he's not the one, he wasn't the one who did it. After some time, I wasn't comforted. In short, I was traumatized. I was traumatized. Sincerely speaking, I was so traumatized. I was sick. I was down. My BP was high. My BP was so high that I was placed on sleeping drugs. When I went to the hospital, the doctor said, "Madam, you are too young for this result, for this BP result." They had to place me on. So the trauma was so much on me. And then when I couldn't bear it, I had to call him because I needed us to talk. There was something, that was the kind of reaction I was expecting from my husband. I wanted us to talk as a family. I wanted us to talk as a couple. And then I called him. One of those nights, I met him politely. I called him. I told her, please, can you just tell me the truth? I wanted to see, like, I think, can you tell me the truth? And I asked him, why did you do it? I called for a meeting between me and him. And I said, why did you do it? And then he took his time and told me that he did not do it. He had told me that he was not the one who did it. And I told him, okay, you did not do it, but the reaction I'm expecting to see from you is not what you're not reacting as if you're impaired, as if it bothers you that your child has been molested. I told you that we need to know the perpetrator, because whether we like it or not, it is always an insider. It has to be an insider. Then we need to protect the girl from her perpetrator. I told him all of that. I said that we let us, okay, when he denied it, I said, okay, let us dig to the root of this and get the person that did it. Initially, he was saying that he'll go to the police station and all of that. And then when he wasn't going, I asked him again, so this matter, will you not take to a police station, as you said? But he was accusing the school. He said it must have happened from the school. And the school, when the school got informed, the school say, hey, that kind of a thing cannot happen from their school because they don't have male teachers for her class. She was just 2 years plus when she started school. They say they don't have male teachers, and then they keep a close this thing on the children. And then the school said it cannot be from their school, that it must have happened in the house. I told you, so my husband was like, it's school. And then the child was like, it is in the house. So I told him, okay. He said he was going to involve the police. I said, okay, why not take it up? You say you didn't do this thing, take it up. Let us get to the root of this matter. And then that was how he died a natural death. He didn't say anything about it, but me, I didn't recover from it, because I knew that, if something is not done about it, it will continue. If we don't get to the root of the matter, if we don't get to know who did it and then protect the girl from it, it will continue. I wasn't myself. I started making inquiries. I went to FIDA. I raised I went to FIDA. I met them. I shared my story with them. I spoke with some few friends. I still went back to the hospital to like get a professional advice on how to help my girl child. I did all I could to see, to see that it doesn't happen again. But fortunately,
What you dey do? Control your hand when you're talking. You must not be hitting the table when you're talking. Go ahead.
But fortunately, my daughter still came back to me, and then she was still telling me, number one, I saw that she was traumatized. Yes, I saw signs of the trauma. She was withdrawn. Whenever she's in the midst of other children, she doesn't play with them. Like, she was really withdrawn. She was always keeping to herself. And then she was always also aggressive towards other children. Then she was always very fearful. Whenever I leave her alone in the house, maybe I'm in the kitchen doing something, she's sleeping in the room, then she was just fearful. She couldn't stay on her own. She couldn't, any small thing, she's running to me and all of that. So I saw and I knew. Then I went to browse on it. I decided to browse on it. On the side effect, I decided to like read wide on it, and I saw that okay, those are some of the signs of trauma. I went back to the hospital, I went back to the doctors, I had a talk with them, and they told me, they advised me, they said that number one, I should take her away from that environment. I should take her away from the environment. If not, it will continue, and that she cannot heal from the trauma. I knew that my husband will not accept that. I knew he wouldn't permit that. In short, the doctor even told us together, and then he wasn't doing anything about it. He wasn't acting. He was just keeping. He was just quiet. He was quiet. He was quiet over the whole matter. He wanted it to like die a natural death, but me, I wasn't just comfortable, with it. Though I stayed for some time, and then in April 2021, the trauma was so much on me. Of course, I was still going through verbal insults from him. He was still threatening me, because there's a time I confronted him about the matter. I told him then I wasn't comfortable leaving my children with him anymore. When it happened, I became uncomfortable leaving my children with him. Though I used to leave them with him whenever I'm going to the market, or whenever I'm washing outside, whenever I have some things, some church, I leave them with him. Of course, he's their father, so they can, stay with him and all of that. But this time around, when it happened, and then if my daughter insists on following me, I allow her follow me. So on this particular day, I wanted to go to the market. There was no food in the house. And then since I don't have a help, he usually comes home to like stay in the house while I run to the market, or he carries me to the market and stay with the children in the car. But this particular day, I was dressing up to go to the market, a nearby market. My daughter insisted on following me, which was really unlike her, my first child. She insisted on following me. And then, of course, because of what because of what had happened, I didn't want to leave her behind. So I told her to dress up, let's go to the market together. When my husband saw that I was taking her to the market, he stopped me. He told me that, where do you think what do you think you're doing? I said, she's following me to the market. He said, why? I told her then, well, she wants to come along, so I'll carry her. And he immediately he ordered the girl to go back to the room. I was not comfortable. I wasn't myself. And then I told him, like I said, I used to be scared of replying him back. But this time I still, I told him no. I said, she's not following me to that market, then I am not going to the market. I said, I am not going. She wants to follow me, then she has to come. And then if he insists that she should stay back, me too, I will not go to the market that day. And by the time, he had already given me money for market. So after some time, I knew there was no food in the house. The children will need to eat. He will need to eat. So I forcefully carried my girl and took her to the market. But I left the second one, because the second child was sleeping in the room. I left her behind, and then I went to the first child. By the time I returned back, my husband was already very angry. He was boiling, and then we started talking. Like, he was not talking to me, and I told him that yes, that this small girl mentioned your name. Number one, children don't lie, especially children of that age. They don't lie. They say it as they see it. Children don't imagine things and say, especially children of that age. So I was so bold enough to like, I wanted him to like, to like come and see if he's guilty, if he's not guilty. I wanted him to like, tell me, say, I didn't do this. That was all I wanted to really prove it. And then I told him that she called your name. You've not been able to do anything since this thing happened. I believe the small girl. That's what I told him. I said, I believe her. And then he looked at me and shook his head. He said, eh. That was what he said. He said, shook his head, you know. And then there was a time he told me, it still has to do with this child molestation stuff. When we're talking about it, he told me that you don't know me. That's what he said to me. He said, "You don't know me, you don't know what I can do." Because I told him why. I told him that why is he doing what he's doing? Why is he so hard on us? Why is he so hard on me in particular? I was trying to like talk to him. I said, "You're a born again Christian." I said, "Will you go to church? You have a prayer life that is enviable and all of that. Why are you doing what you're doing to me? Why are you maltreating me?" And then he looked at me. I was expecting, something. I was expecting him to like say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or something. He looked at me and told me that you don't know me, oh, you don't know what I can do. That was what he said to me, and then other times, if I just a time in the month of April 2021, when I was undergoing the trauma, I called my father because I got married in 2016, and since I got married till that year, I didn't go home to see my people. Sure, he did not permit me to travel. He didn't permit me. I told him several times that I would like to go and visit my father. My mom is
They
late.
need some storage.
My mom is late, and then I was like, I need to go and visit my father. It don't look good that after I got married, I forgot
Go and do
him, forgot everybody, forgot, where I was coming from. My dad, we were always in touch, through calls. And then I used to tell him then that I would like to visit my father. I would like to go and see my father. I would like to go and greet my people. And then, he short, most times he won't even answer me. He will act as if he did not hear what I said and all of that. And then this April, when the trauma was too much for me, that was the first time I called my people. That was the first time I was reporting the matter to my friend. So that was the first time my dad was hearing that I was a victim of domestic violence. That was the first time my dad was hearing that I was in a toxic marriage. Because I wanted to protect my marriage, so I wasn't sharing it with my people. They thought he was treating me well. They thought I was comfortable. They thought I was doing well. And then when I called my dad, I told him that he should please ask my husband to permit me to come home. I knew that I needed a change of environment to heal. By this time, I was already having some mental stress and all of that. So I needed to rest. I needed to like change environment to heal from the trauma, heal from everything that I was going through. And then I told my dad to ask my husband to permit me to come home. That was when my dad now came in. My dad spoke to my husband. That was April 2021. I wanted to use the Easter break as an excuse to go and see my people. And then my dad called him and told him to allow me to come home. Though my husband didn't want to, and then he gave my dad several excuses. And then my father, being an elderly man, was able to like persuade him to allow me come home. He was saying that the road is rough. Me carrying children. The children are going to be stressed on the road. That Makodi road is very bad. My dad was saying that before you were born, that road, that road, has been there. And people fly on that road and all of that. Nothing happens to them and everything. So that was how he finally allowed me to travel home. When he allowed me, I opened up to my father. Yes, I was living in serious fear. I knew that domestic violence wasn't good. I knew the end result of it. I was really scared, actually. I was so scared. And then I opened up to my dad. I told my dad that April I was not returning back. I told my father. That was the first time my dad was hearing everything I was going through, including our sex life. Our sex life was not good. I had to open up to my father. I told him everything. So my father now said that okay, he's going to call him to come. Then
What do you mean by your sex life?
yes, when we got our sex life wasn't also good.
How?
It was also part of like we hardly met. And then anytime I talk about like a few times I wanted addressing it because I knew that it wasn't healthy for a marriage to be like that. Sometimes it could take to 6 months, sometimes 8 months, and then he's so comfortable with it. We stayed in in the master's bedroom together. We didn't believe in having separate rooms. Though it was a 4 bedroom bungalow, but we didn't believe in having separate rooms. So we're all together in the master's bedroom. I was not depriving him of anything. I was always talking about it, because I wanted a healthy marriage. And I knew that it wasn't healthy for a marriage, like, and for the couple not to be active in their sexual life, not to be active. And it wasn't good. I tried talking about it several times. And I'll call for a meeting. We had this habit of having meetings once in a while, having, just to talk and talk. And whenever I raise the issue, he will shift it back at me. He will tell me that yes,
What is the problem?
that the spiritual controls the physical. That me, I'm
What is
not
the
prayerful
problem?
enough. Me, I'm not. I don't join him to pray. I used to join him to pray, but when he became violent towards me, started hitting me and all of that, yes, I started staying away from praying with him. And then sometimes when I even go to pray with himself, he will look for something. He will look for something. While we are praying, my husband will look for something to like use and shout and make trouble at the place of prayer. So I stopped joining him at prayer altar at some point. I prefer to like have my own prayers in the room and all of that. So when I raised the when I raised the issue of our poor sexual life and all of that, and the effect on the marriage and everything, you tell me that the spiritual controls the physical. The spiritual controls the physical. And
Have
that
you
was
ever met him masturbating?
ma. I learned a lot of things from my marriage. I don't know, but I know that his hand is always on his PP. I don't know if that must be. I don't know, but that was a norm. He goes to bed that way. I tried addressing it. I was so irritated initially. I told him, why are you always doing that? I am here. I even told him I had to like sink my pride. I'm like, I'm here, I'm your wife, touch me, remove your hand from there. Because I don't know if that was a masturbation, but that's like his normal life. That's like his normal
And
life.
throughout your 5 years marriage, you have been like that.
Yes, man, I met him like that and he has been like that. I tried talking about it. I tried talking about several times. I told him one of those, I said, how will you feel if you come and see me put my own hand in my V? Like my hand is constant. How will you feel? I tried talking to him about that. And then most times he wouldn't even answer me. He will not say anything. He would just keep mute, either walk away, face his own business. And then he gave me restrictions in the house. Number one, my husband has more than one car. I wasn't permitted to use any one. If he's going out, he will carry the other car keys and put in the car that he's driving and drive out. When I got married to him, it took him months before he could even release my own keys, bunch of keys to the house to me. Whenever we got, I had to wait for him to come and meet me where I am, carry me, then we come back home together.
Was he married before?
He wasn't married from before for me to know.
Did you later discover that he was married before?
No ma, no ma.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't have the right to like question his movement. And sometimes he could keep late nights. He just does his thing. He does his thing the way he pleases. And me, I was just there like a house help. Wherever he wants to go. In short, entering his car was more like a luxury to my husband. Sometimes he'll be going out like this. I'll be like, okay, can I join you? He'll be like, where do you think you're going to? And stuff like that. I'm like, okay, just drop me at the junction. And he would gladly drop me at the junction. He wasn't giving me money for upkeep.
Okay, let's talk about the kid. How old was the child when she was molested, and how old is the child now?
She was 2 years plus when it happened. When she told me about it. And then it continued until the day I ran away. I ran away because she kept telling me about it. Even when I ran to my father's house in April, I went to the intention of not returning back, but interventions. Because my dad asked my husband to come with his kinsmen. He did not come with his kinsmen. He challenged my dad seriously. He was like, you don't have the right to keep my family. You don't blah, 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 blah. He told me that there's no battle that he cannot face.
How old is the child now?
She's 4 years old now.
4 years old.
Yes, ma. She's 4 years old now.
You said you have two daughters and both of them were molested sexually.
Yes, ma.
How did you go to know about the second one?
When I ran away to Lagos, what I did first was to contact the barrister to like seek legal advice. And then she now told me, one of them told me, I went to Child Protection Network. Then they told me I should go to Mirabel Center and get a medical result. Though I had one from the hospital we first took her to.
In Lagos here?
At Uyo. I had a medical result from there, report from there. And then when I came here, the barrister said I should go to a government hospital for a proper checkup. So when I took the first child there, I was going with the mind. I only went, with the mindset, okay, let them examine my first child. but she was still complaining of pains and in her vagina and stuff like that. And then when they checked her, after they were done examining her, they checked her, they confirmed it, and they saw fresh bruises. Yes, they saw fresh bruises. They could see the previous one that was healing, because they could see the previous one, and then they noticed fresh bruises, in her vagina. And then when I was about to leave, when they were done with her and I was about to leave, the doctor politely asked me, he said, "Madam, please, can we check the second child?" Then he went further to explain to me that usually that those pedophiles, that whenever they don't see their victims around, that they go to the next available child. That was what he said to me. So he asked me if they can check the second child. I said yes. I gave him a go ahead, and after they examined her, and sincerely speaking, he told me the same thing, that even the second child has been molested.
How old is the child?
I left when she was 1 year 4 months, and she's currently 1 year 7 months. She's presently 1 year 7 months.
And you left them when the child was 1 year,
1 year
months,
4 months.
4 months.
Was when I
And
left.
as at then, she has already been molested.
Yes, that was when because I left in November.
Yeah.
I left in November last year. That same November, I went to Mirabel Center. As I left, I went straight to Mirabel Center for the children to be examined. And that was when they discovered that even the second child has been molested.
What kind of job does your husband?
He's a furniture maker, and then he's a pastor.
Pastor. He owns his own church.
No, but he's a pastor under a pastor.
Can you turn down the volume of what you are watching for? You're disturbing us here. She folded it again. Call her for me. Say, go back again. Come. Call her for me. See. Stella, I told you you should print this thing. Do you know what they call passport photograph?
No, that's what I told her. She said you did not tell her that. I told her you said she should bring her passport.
Go back and tell her again. I need passport photograph of this. And this one, I said you should print it on this paper. This is the only thing I need on passport photograph. And you're just doing opposite things. Go and tell her this thing I need it on paper. And this one, passport photograph. Passport.
He's a furniture maker and he's a pastor too.
He's a pastor. Okay, according to your statement, you are not working, you're a full-time housewife.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you birth your children yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I bath my children myself.
Okay, how come that you did not discover when all this was going on? Is it that you don't bath, and when you're birthing the child, you don't touch your private parts? Or how come that you did not discover? Because you should be, if the penetration was uncountable, then you also too loose on the area of taking care of the kids, because at that first instance, the first penetration, because the child has not experienced such, there must be bruises and pain. So how come you did not discover that at that point in time?
When she was very little, I started checking her because I knew how bad the word was. I was always checking her.
Checking her how? What was your
Once in a
intention?
while.
Why do you check her?
Well, truthfully, I wasn't comfort. I didn't really understand. I don't know. I just decided to. I just knew that it was good. That that was just my own way of trying to check. Just
So you have a child of 1 year something, you'll be checking her private parts.
no. That's
Just
whenever
like that, if you
whenever
are
I'm
not,
changing
if
her
nothing
diaper.
has been wrong, or how?
whenever I'm changing her diaper.
Yes,
Whenever I'm cleaning her up.
yes.
Yes, I could just that once in a while, people could like I could just open that page, just wipe, like just check. And then I was checking her up to when she stopped using her diaper. So I knew how her hair, because they asked me that question in the hospital. Madam, she's a child, have you been opening her? You should know how her V was or is. And then I explained everything to her that yes, I saw hymen. I know that place was covered. I could explain that. But when I had my second child, there was a little distraction. And then the small girl herself, what me I knew about that was that anytime I'm batting her, if she's in pain, I should know. Maybe when I'm washing her V, I should know.
So how come that you did not know?
She did not give me those signs. She didn't give me those signs. By this time, I was already read like I read wide. When I had my child, I started reading wide on how to raise a girl child. I knew those
If
things.
you read wide to the extent you become a professor in reading, how comes that you don't notice anything? It's not about reading wide. If you are that good in reading, what was your research that you could not notice when that child was molested?
Like I said, she didn't give me anytime I'm washing her V. She did not give me any sign like she was in pain or anything.
So how do you not got to know at last
She
after
was-
several penetration?
She was the one that came. I started teaching her. Yes, when she started school, when we registered her in school, I started teaching her sex education. I used to tell her this your breast, this your armpit, this your private part. I call it vagina. I taught her vagina that way, and I told her nobody should touch your vagina. I used to tell her nobody should touch your V. Only mommy is permitted to wash your V. I used to tell her that, and then after the, well, that was I don't know, but I used to teach her. Then I was a bit close to her. Then she now came and met me and told me that her vagina was paining her. But my husband does the school runs. My husband handles the school runs.
How?
He takes her to school, he brings her back from school. And all of that. There was I don't
And
know.
one thing I don't really understand is this. Yeah, at times who really want to stay in marriage, but do you understand that there are some certain things you don't need to cover up to remain in marriage?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can't imagine that I'm married and my husband is sleeping with my kids, and I'll keep quiet because I want to be in one stupid marriage.
I didn't cover it up.
If when that child confessed it and you notice that he was not showing much concern, aren't you supposed to call the police for such man?
Yes, like I said, I went to feed her immediately. I did not stop at feed. I was talking with some legal with some of my senior friends in the legal department,
Legal what?
barristers. I was just trying to see how I can help my child. Then one of them gave me an advice. She said, "You're not from here. They already know that he's violent towards me. They already knew that he's violent towards me. They told me that man, you have to be careful. You stay alone with him. They told me you're a major threat to him. If you go to the police, you're not from this place. He has the money, he can pay his way out." They advised me and they told me that the country is so corrupt that they can turn black to white and turn white to black. And then they told me that if I want to do anything, handle anything, I should make sure I don't do it in that state. And that was why, sincerely speaking, I ran. That was why I ran the way I ran, because I need to, and then he will not stay and watch me. Just tell him that I'm living with the children and challenge him to his face and move with the children. He won't. Remember, I said he's violent, he's strong. We stay alone in the compound. He won't do that. Then I didn't even have any physical cash of my own. I don't know if he knew, but I wasn't. He didn't let me. He didn't no money for upkeep. I didn't have cash. I didn't have any money to like take any action. But what I did was that I was talking with NGOs online. I was so troubled that I contacted some NGOs online. I started talking with pediatricians online.
And what did they do?
Yes,
You have talked
they
with
were
all
the
the
ones.
NGOs like Mr. Fizi. What did they do?
They were the ones. Finally, one of them told me that, "Madam, this is your call." She told me that this is your call. You are the one that you are the one to like save yourself, save those children. And that's why I took that bold step and I ran. The day I ran out of the house. And then I ran to Lagos.
Let's call them. Since you came to Lagos, what happened?
When I came to Lagos, first step I did was I went to Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Abuse and Center.
No, what has he done? That is what I'm asking.
What
At least
my
the man know
husband-
that you have left him.
Yes, when I sent him that text, he called me on my way. I didn't want him to track me. I didn't want him to know my whereabouts. So I didn't pick his calls. And then he was one that now told my family member, because I left quietly this time. I didn't involve anybody. I left quietly on my own to this place, and then he was going to inform my family. Then he said threatening, told them that he's going to report me that I kidnapped the children. He went to the police station and said that I kidnapped the children. And then since I left, they have been tracking my line. At some point, I had to off my phone. I had to off my phone for weeks. Then I changed my SIM card at some point. Though my
Don't worry,
my
now
lines
let
are
him come
open.
here. Now that he has reported to the police that he kidnapped the children, we'll call him. The children are here. Let him come and
So
plead the case.
yes, so they're tracking my line. A barrister had to like help me talk with them. One of the barristers that I was talking with initially called them and told them that I have reported the case to them and I did not kidnap my children. That they should stop contacting my contacts and they should stop trying. Also, they should stop trying to like get my whereabouts. And then he vowed that he's going to get me. He's going to deal with me.
Okay, and your family are aware of all this.
They are fully aware, ma.
Have your parents contacted you?
Him.
Yeah.
Yes, he calls them from time to time to know my whereabouts. He calls them to find out if they have been able to reach me. Though they don't want, I told them not to disclose my location to him and all of that.
Are you done with the marriage?
I am done, no.
Or you ran because of the children
I
molestation?
what I did, I ran in April. I ran away and I said I was not returning back. Then I decided to because I involved the police. When I ran in April, I involved the police. I went to the police and then they advised me to go back. They said our marriage was still young. I should go back to our marriage. That we should go and make things work. That's what the DPO told me when I ran in
Did you
Makoto.
tell the DPO that the
Yes,
children were
yes, yes, ma. I told them. I
and did the
told them.
same DPO ask you to
Told
go
me
back with the
yes, yes.
kids?
He said, "Don't worry, he won't do it again." I mean, I came to the right place. I know that he will not try it again. That was, so I went back, though it wasn't with my heart, my mind, but I went back. I said, okay, let me go back and see. By the time I got back, and he didn't change too much. Like he didn't stop the abuse. And then on my channel, I was still talking about it. That was when this time around I ran. And then now I know that I am done. Why? Because I've had like I spoke with a barrister friend. She said that yeah, it's good you get enough evidences. So it don't look as if okay, you just left, you just want to leave your marriage and stuff like that. I gave him a second chance and I saw that he didn't really change. Not towards me, not towards the children.
And I believe you. I want to believe that you did not leave because you were having personal issue with him that have to do with the marital aspect, and you were trying to tag him with this name that he was molesting your
Ma,
children sexually.
no. Ma, I was patient. As far as that one was, I was. People who knew me, friends who they say, Faith, you have patience. That Faith, you're a patient person. I
Do you
really
have
wanted
the test result, the Mirabel result
I have
that
the
shows
test
that the
result.
kids were molested?
I had the test result in, but a soft copy of it, not a hard copy of it.
Let me see it. Let her bring your phone. Let me have come with her phone, please.
I didn't have any money of my own. When I was leaving, I saw some money in the house. That was the money I used to rescue myself and the children.
How much was that?
It was 1.4.
1.4 million.
Yes, ma'am. I didn't count. I just saw it. I carried it. Because when I got here, I confirmed it. And that's the money I used, took them to the hospital and be moving around, got them food and accommodation. Sorry, I need to.
At times I always believe that everyone in this platform are adults. And when I say adult, full grown adults. And at times I also surprise and marvel at some of you comments. I can't really reconcile. I cannot just know why. You will just come online. First, you wouldn't let who is giving statement to land. You start by judging first. You want to see the face of the person is lying, this person is not saying the truth. Some of you are saying is she's keeping extramarital affair. I hope and I wish some of you know what some women pass through in the hands of some men that call themselves husband at home. You may not really understand until you are in. So if people are asked to complain or give statement of what they pass through, don't judge nobody until you hear from the other side. Don't judge no one. She might be lying, she might be saying the truth. And in as much as far as none is living with them, you don't have any reason whatsoever to judge her. Because if I've ever been in toxic relationship, if you have ever experienced what this woman is saying, if you're a woman that live in a marriage that the man will lie in front of you and be masturbating, or go out and come back and be shutting you up, you can't express your feelings, you have no word, and if you try to express your feelings is a problem. If you have ever been in a toxic relationship, if people speak out, men or women that have been in such, you will have reason to shut up your mouth and listen to them and know why and what they are going through. Some of you can be very annoying. Before a woman comes out to speak out, she must have passed through hell. She must have gone through all manners of demonic attitude from some men before they come out. They couldn't hold it anymore. Women are the most tolerant people on earth. They keep secrets. Some men will be sleeping around or sleeping with anything in underskirts without single shame. But before a woman take a decision to start sleeping around, she must have gotten it to the brain. So you can't down, even if she gives statement here, you don't condemn her, you don't condemn the man. You wait until you listen to the response of the man. You can't judge people by what they are saying. Is it difficult? Is it strange? Are you just hearing this? Is it the first time we have had women, even children, coming to our office that their father is molesting them sexually? And the same person will come out to deny and go behind again to bribe some police to kill the case behind, outside the office. So what are you saying? If people come out to tell you what they are passing through in their hands or what the men are doing to them, and you don't even listen to what they are passing through or even listen to both sides, you begin to judge. I wish you to experience some kind of things. You go back and experience that also in your marriage or your relationship. Then if they are talking, you become to listen to both parties before you pick up or start condemning. Holy, keep that. Let her rise up. We are not in this place. We are not sent. If you take up legal action, you take up legal action based on her statements. As is the reason why we don't treat this kind of a case behind camera. That her face is not showing on air doesn't mean her face is not showing here. And before she leaves here, even the office camera is already capturing all her statements and everything she's saying here. So let be calm when you listen to statement. Don't judge nobody as if you know what is in there. Let me see.
This is it has three parts. That's for the second child. That's the result for the second child.
You have to send it to a phone, but I'm not seeing where is the Mirabel this thing, because the Mirabel will never need to be on the head of the paper.
Yes, so let me show you.
Good. You forward this to me. We are going to print it out and attach it to your case file.
Thank you. Let's show you the
And
second.
where is the second one? For the second child?
Yeah, and that's for the first child. The first result was for the second child.
I've not seen the report. I'm only seeing you conducted a test. Yes, I'm talking about the results of the test. There must be a statement written there.
This one is a bit lengthy. That's the last page for it. For the first child.
This person handwriting, I don't understand. If you can read it, you read it. Let me see. I mean the conclusion. Read out the conclusion.
Child stable physical status and her mother's verbal accounts were noted. Client Client's genital examination are in keeping with forceful blunt penetration into her genital, including the vagina.
Let's call the name. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay. My name is Mrs. Olushola. Am I speaking to Mr. Akpan?
What do you say?
My name is Mrs. Olushola. I'm calling you from Human Rights Office. Am I speaking to Mr. Akpan?
Yes.
Okay, we'll have one Mrs. Faith Afugocho Anita in our office here in Lagos. Just give me the mic. I don't know. Can you hear me?
You are here. I'm hearing you.
Okay. Well, she laid a complaint in our office here, and your attention is actually needed.
You said who?
But I just asked you if you can hear me. You said yes. Hello? 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 Let me call back if you cannot hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I just said we have one Mrs. Faith Ofugocho AKPAN in our office, right in our office here, who lay complaint against you on a child sexual molestation,
Mm.
and your attention is needed.
Really, what?
I thought you just said you are hearing me. Why do you keep asking me hearing what?
You said she left what? I didn't hear you well.
Okay, that you are having sex with her children. If that's what you are, if you can't hear me, she said you are having sex with her children, her two daughters.
Uh-huh. Where?
Where? How?
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lagos. She's right in our office.
What's the which of the office?
Human Rights Defender and Access to Justice office.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I should do what?
You just heard what I said, sir. I said your attention is needed in our office.
Well, madam,
Yes.
now hear me and hear me very well.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Please tell her if she's mad,
Yes.
let her get to a psychiatrist and receive treatment.
If she's what?
Tell her, because I said that. Tell her that that's my response. If she's mad, she should get to the nearest psychiatric hospital and get treatment.
Is that your response?
That's my response. Please don't tell to tell her. Just tell her. That I said if she's mad enough, she should get to the nearest psychiatric hospital and receive attention and get treatment.
Have you ever been confronted with that issue in your house?
Madam, please pass the message to him, to her.
I'm not asking you to send any message to her. She's hearing what you are saying right here. The question I'm asking you, have you ever been confronted with that issue in your house?
Madam, the woman ran away from the house since last year, so she said she doesn't want anybody to know where she is. So tell her that I said if that madness has gotten to that, she should get treatment somewhere.
Hold on. We're not talking about your marriage. We're talking about the innocent children.
Which innocent children?
We are talking about the children.
What do you say?
Oga, listen to me. We're not talking about your marriage.
No, Jamie, you have not seen me before. So
yes, that is why I'm asking you.
Hello, are you hearing me?
I can hear you like that clear.
Listen. No, you have not seen me before. So be careful with the way you use your words.
The question I'm asking here, have you ever been confronted with that issue in your house? Are you aware that your kids were molested sexually? Yes or no?
No.
You are not aware?
Yes.
And none of the kids were taken to the hospital there before she left, that you were molesting the children sexually?
Madam, let her, if she wants to lay a complaint, she should tell the truth. If she can tell you the truth, then there's a problem.
I believe if she gives a complaint, and the reason why we have not concluded is the reason why we are putting call across to you. But your response sounds funny. I am asking you a question and you are referring to how she left the house. What was the reason why she left the house?
Madam,
yes.
She carried money, she carried business money and run away from the house. Leave her. When she's done where she will return back. And tell her that money she carries, she will pay it to her nose. Just tell her. Because you're not aware of what she did. And she has not gone up. She carried business money and run away and left the house.
She said
from the day she carried that money, if she had communicated with you.
I thought I was told you were looking for her and the kids.
Madam.
Yeah.
Please have a good day. I'm very busy. God bless you.
We will come for you, sir. We are coming for you. So some of you that were abusing, condemning this woman, you can hear from this kind of person. You heard the man's statement, but nevertheless, he will still come to the public to explain it, because we are going to revisit this case live and direct. You are going to bring those children back to me in this office. On Monday, you bring the kids. We are going to interview these kids, take them back to Marital. Whatever is going to cause the whole world to get this man arrested, we will do that. If you leave your marriage, that is not my concern. If you wish to go back to the marriage, that is not our concern. Our concern here are the kids. You have brought complaint before us here, and to have proper stand on that case, we must do proper findings. You will provide us these kids next week. We'll take the kids back to Marital and also check the outcome if there was any test like that conducted on those children. Anywhere you have run tests, oh no. Then if you don't have the money, we will beg those evil fans to sponsor the trip to wherever this man is. We must bring him to justice. So whatever he's talking there, we can't talk much. Okay. Since the other camera is not coming up, let me use the webcam. Where are some of you that were sending all kinds of comments? This is the reason why, one, if you watch, if you are in any way opportune to listen to statements or to complainants, please, you have to be attentive. Don't judge nobody. Don't run into conclusion because you are assuming. Don't assume. Don't live on assumption. Be very, very sure of what you want to say, of what you want to comment. You don't judge people by what, oh, this and that, this, your body language. Some people look innocent, but they are worst of it. Some people look loose, but they are the hardest people you can have anything close to sexual relationship with them and all that. So you don't judge someone not even coordinated. Some cannot be coordinated in their statement, but they're actually saying the truth. From what the response of this man on your own, judge from there. Is that the response of a father? Is that what is supposed to respond? Is that what is answered? Can you listen to what this man, do you really pick up from what this man was saying? You should go to psychiatrist hospital. Yes, the day, were you aware? Were you confronted on this issue? He denied, he said no. So if I believe you still have the school, you said you took the child to the school where the child was schooling.
Um, yes, sir, but there's no formal report on that from the school. We just spoke with them verbally.
Yeah.
and they said it cannot be from the school.
And you have the principal's number?
Yes, ma'am. I have their contact.
Good.
I still have their contact.
Go and bring the contact. We'll still bring the person.
But this was what happened. The first school that she was before that thing happened, before she was molested.
Yeah.
He now changed when I returned back. When I returned back, he changed her school, and then he told me that he was changing her school because of the molestation and scandal and all of that. And then my point is, even after he changed her school, my daughter did not stop coming to tell me or to complain to me that daddy still touched me. But I have their contacts and I have all the medical reports.
Yeah, you called the school authority. Was it the principal or the teachers? Who exactly?
The proprietress, the head of school.
Okay.
They are all aware.
Let's have the number. We want to confirm if you ever register the case there.
Yes, ma'am. Pastor's wife.
Bring the phone for me. We don't do pastor. Don't do. I'm talking about the school you called. Who exactly did you call? You can speak up. It's a high time some of you stop covering evil. Give me the number, madam. I'm not concerned about. I'm concerned about the children because their destiny is not your children. Their life is not for you. And if it's your right, their right is not your right. So don't even tell me that. Pastor, what?
No, the first number is for the school, the head of school.
All I need to know is that you call, brighten up your this thing because it's not showing well.
The numbers. Okay.
Huh? What is the name?
Head teacher.
You say head mistress. How did you get to it?
Head teacher, ma, please. The first number, head teacher.
Was she the one you called?
Yes, she was the one that they contacted.
Who contacted her?
The owner of the school.
Huh?
The owner of the school contacted her.
Contacted who?
The head teacher.
I don't understand what you're saying.
The owner of the school contacted the head teacher.
Who did you on your own complain to?
It was my husband. We did it as a family. While he was trying to cover up, he said it happened from the school. So he now said that let us inform them because they are our pastor. The school belongs to the church. Like the church school. So we now went and.
Okay, for instance, if the children were molested from the school, because you are talking a pastor is a pastor, you are rolling your body is a pastor. If the children were actually molested from the church, are you to cover the pastor or whoever that molests these children? Because your body language, they should not call the pastor and not that. It's not what?
No, that's not what I mean.
What do you mean? Bring the numbers out for me. Don't come to this office and come and lie. Bring out the number. You said you called the school, you told the school authority, now you turn it to pastor or pastor school. Bring the number, even if it's reverend, give us the number now. Otherwise, I'll personally arrest you here for even misinforming this office. Sure. Which of the number? Because there are so many numbers here.
The first one, ma'am.
exist. Please check the number
Okay.
and try
Say the
again.
number does not exist. How are you giving a number that does not exist?
That's the number you give. I think it should be network. I can give you an alternative number.
You just write Mommy Anita. Is that the name?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is she?
She's the pastor's wife.
That
Dear
was the school.
customer,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
customer you are calling is on another call. Please try
The
again
pastor's wife
later.
that owns the school.
Dear customer, the customer you are calling is on another call. Please try again later.
Which year that is you talked to the woman last year?
Yes, when it happened,
Yeah.
my husband was the one that said we should inform them
Mm-hmm.
since she attends their school.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah. Please, am I speaking to Mommy Anita? Hello? Can you hear me? The line is so low. I barely hear you. Did you tell the woman that your daughter confessed their father?
Yes, yes. I told her.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mrs. Solution. I'm calling you from the Office of the Human Rights Defenders and Access to Justice. Can you hear me? I'm calling you from Human Rights Defender and Access to Justice Office. Yes, but can you hear me? Okay, we have one Miss Faith AKPAN in our office here who laid complaint that the husband were actually molesting the kids sexually, and you are the proprietress of the school or a head teacher of the school, former head teacher, where the kids were molested, and the case was reported to you or the school authority then. Can you tell me that it's breaking so that I can hold on, no, can you hear me? Is it clear now? The man must have called her. Yeah, because she was online when we were calling her. She was actually hearing me. She just pretend not to know, but if we are taking action, of course, every other person, including the school, will come up to explain themselves. Sorry, I'm sending the woman text message. All right. Um, just like I said earlier, the kids will be present in our office on Monday, where we confirm all the tests. No stone will be left untouched. We have the number of the Mama Gio here. Some of you that are perpetrating evil and you want to cover it under carpet, God will unveil every one of you. Any secret movement, secret affair, secret agenda that you are doing that you feel nobody is watching you, God is there to disgrace you, frustrate you to the end of your life. So, madam, you cannot use your marriage and detriment the life and the destiny of your kids. Just like I said, your life differs from the kids and they have their own life, they have their own rights. If you fail to present the kids in our office on Monday, be sure that then we'll bring your picture, face live on social media to get you arrested for coming to misinform this office. Do you understand me? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Understand you, ma.
Okay. So I am not playing. It's not funny. It's not a joke because I know so many girls these days that have lost guard, that have no sexual control anymore, and some of them will go as far as looking for men and married old men to be sleeping with. Is as the result of this kind of thing because people started penetrating them from childhood, lose them and all that. So we will not watch our society to be like this because some of you want to cover evil. Yes, there are issues you cover in your marriage and there are issues you don't need to cover. Because if that little child of 4 years today could remember that she told you that her father was molesting her sexually and you did nothing about it, you will never be forgiven, even before spirit and man. Do you understand me? Because you deny her of her justice, you deny her of her rights. And not only her, her little sister again. So if it is their father, we will got to know. If they are being harassed or, defiled from the school authority, we have to know. At least you have to try your best and let the spirit of the children be satisfied that even if you did not know exactly who committed such evil, try your physical strength and your effort first before you allow God to take over the battle. But as it is, you would have kept it to yourself or to any other organization that you've visited before now. In as much as you've present this matter before this honorable office, I bet you we will not step down until we see the end of the matter. We will not step down until we get to the root of this matter. Mostly, I can't say much because I'm on air. Yeah.
Thank you, ma.
So thank you, viewers, for being with us. We'll be back in a moment.